Such a
Hello and
pleasure.
welcome to Social Talk. With us today is Bothlale Modisane to tell us more about her life's journey and the Tshegofatso Pule Foundation. Welcome, Bothlale.
Hi, Kelly. How
Okay.
you doing?
Good, thanks.
Alrighty.
Just to start us off, Bothlale ke mang, o tswa kae?
So, thank you so much for the invitation to the social. A great honor indeed. So, Bothlale Modisane, ke mosetsana wa Motswana, born and bred ko Midlands. So I like to call myself the best of both worlds because when I go to the Queen's language,
Yes.
I can play around with it a bit.
Okay.
And then when I bring it back home,
Yeah.
then I can take out the ghetto-ness in me.
Yes.
so even on radio, I go by the name is B, the ghetto snob.
Oh.
But over and above that, I'm a mom. I'm a radio host. I am a social entrepreneur. I'm an activist and an advocate for GBV and everything that is community based rather.
That's nice. Social entrepreneur, what's that?
So, when you're able to evolutionize things or evolve
Yeah.
things that have everything to do with the social aspect, you're able to make changes. They become they become an act of positivity, and are able to change people's lives. When you've gone and touched a person's life on that social aspect or be it in that particular social environment, you walk away and that person is able to know how to go back and fend for themselves and actually change their lives to the better, as opposed to we just add on up and then you walk away and nothing has been done and nothing has been changed from a social aspect of things and also from one's livelihood perspective.
Okay. Please tell us about the Tshegofatso Pule Foundation.
All right. So Tshegofatso Pule, first and foremost, was like a little sister to me. How we knew each other was her brother, her cousin brother, her brother, her big brother.
Yeah.
Tabiso. His dad and my mom used to date.
Oh.
Forever ago. I love telling this story because we are so tight.
Okay.
They used to date forever ago, like actually for the longest of times.
Yes.
So Tabiso and his little brother, Chai, we literally all grew up together. When Lily, I remember one of the memories that stick out the most for me is when Lily Cinema used to still run. And Barafe, I think about 3 rands, so we'd each have like 1 rand between us. And because I grew up as a tomboy, I've always been such a boy. Trust me, when the makeup goes and the hair goes, give a shot, it all comes out. So I remember, memories where we would walk really going down to go Lili to go watch a movie. I think by then a movie about 30 cents, 50 cents, something of that sort. And the other one would be for the popcorn. We'd have that and we'd go and so we were that young when our parents were seeing each other. And so we grew up as brother and sister. And he ventured out to Atoma Airat Ballet, which was foreign to us. Well, for now, because I'm the best of both worlds.
Yes.
I'm used to it, because ballet and everything. But then you come back to the hood, and then look at ballet. It's like, what the is happening here? And then automatically, because they start becoming poised
Yes.
and they have a certain
Yes.
walk, and kind of they're walking on air and everything, and now everybody's concentrating on whatever else, and whenever I want to tell you, so it's like, okay, when I go a broken wrist, okay, it is what it is, and then we reconnect, again, and everything, you learn, no, it's just dance, and he's traveling a lot and everything, so now we reconnect again, and now by then Tshegofatso has now been fully adopted into the family, and her younger brother Poloso, and because now the mom is now late. So both parents were late. So yes, Tshegofatso. And now Tshegofatso le Poloso ba godisa ke mama go Thabiso. So mama go Tshegofatso na tlhatlhama mama go Thabiso. So now that goes on, and that's how now our story begins. I get to know Tshegofatso, and before I could meet her, Thabiso would only say, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and he would do all these things. And whenever I would do something that was a bit bourgeois or whatever, he would always say, hey, anything, and indeed, when Tshegofatso and I did meet, we just clicked. I just heard, by the way, an Abuaka thing. Like I don't understand. Like Tshegofatso was extra. She was super extra. Or you see, and then you get that burger in a lady sauce. She was just extra like that, and she was just such a sweetheart. She was loud. She always wanted to be like, you would feel her. You would feel her. Extremely fashion forward and everything. So because of that whole setup, that's how my encounter began. And so I remember when she fell pregnant, actually during this whole thing, this whole journey, I didn't know who she was dating into Togo, and then as time went on, now something I understanding. I need you. He would always come to me. I think when she would understand. And then I'll make time. And then no, when are we gonna be able to talk? No, sis, don't worry. I'm still gonna make time for you, and it's okay. So you just let me know. I'm like, she was like that. Trust me. And then so come she fell pregnant. Thabiso comes is devastated. No, but Thabiso dreamt of it. Thabiso dreamt of it. So I hope it's not true. It's cheat. And then I'm like, okay, no, and then indeed it is confirmed. And then I'm like, how's Tshegofatso about this whole thing? Because then and then so eventually I ran into her. I had run into her prior at gig. And then good life, champagne life, like bon. She lived. Look, when in hindsight, when one looks back and reflects on Tshegofatso's life, it was not short-lived. It was cut short, but it was not short-lived. I topa my lifing, Shemai topa with everything, clothes, whatever. She would go all out. The company broke as long as and she loved the exclusives. She so, and she was fashion forward. A video in one of the interviews when they show her where she's dancing and she's at a club and she's wearing a coat, a see-through, you got a raincoat, so all those moons ago when she got it, and then when I know the raincoat, I'm like, darlings, don't worry, like, you don't understand, you will understand. And years later now, this is what people are wearing now, and it's and that's how she's always been. You look at the kind of makeup that she used to do then. it's things that are only being done now when you're exploring with different shapes and shades, and because pele no ira lining yana ke la bana ntse re ilwa go ira lining yana as long as kuna le color, or utlatse color e wine, and then she was already playing around with these things because she's always measured herself with international standards. Whatever that was happening overseas, she would already be putting it to practice. So I see her lean to Togo and I'm like, hey, go groove, like Nana. So I call her, hey sis, she's happy. But now because we're at groove, I can't exactly be now, because even if Batwadu say in a group, yeah, at that particular circle, I knew it because I don't know to look groovy. There's always particular groups and everything. So I'm like, it's no wrong direction. Simply because I know the reputation.
So
Yeah.
before.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, but simply because it's a reputation, I know what happens at groups. I know the kind of modus operandi. Anyway, I then say to her, Nana, introduce her to the people that I was with. I'm like, no, this is my little sister, so. She's like, no, sis, oh, it's lovely seeing you. And then obviously we, pass comments about each other's outfits and everything. Like, oh, I know, sis, the only pain I want to feel is champagne. And indeed, she was having champagne. And now I'm sitting back at something slightly less expensive. So, slightly less glam, And I'm like, okay, fine, we need to talk. And she's like, yeah, I've been meaning to come talk to you. And then we make another appointment.
Yeah.
Of many appointments. No, it's fine, sis, I'm going to make time. And I'm like, okay, cool. Because now I'm like, hey, I get I'm not going to, I'm not going to be that person almost sing it, mood and everything. But when we're like, I'm like, and the intention was not to say, but it was going to be one of those, Nana, focusa, diprikinyana, mole, and then we never really got to see each other, but we spoke because I would also help with my PR background. I would also try assisting her build the brand Apple Balm, which she was already an independent makeup artist, because now she has to fend for herself. She's like, no, let me grow myself in this, So we would talk, especially where that would be regarded. And then fast track, couple of somethings later, who planned the baby shower and everything. And she was very specific because she list oh, she must just leave it. Like, you can't just bring me anything. Like, that's my baby, And she just wanted standards, and she had this beautiful vision of, and this is post, what every woman would go through, especially when you're not stable. And then when that happens, she went through her stages where she was extremely stressed and whatever. But ultimately the reassurance from the family to say and with whatever that we have because this boy and he's not instead he there's one excuse after the other, there's one excuse after the other. So and I think which is what actually shattered us the most. Baby shower was I think a week or two away. This whole thing was almost due, and Tshegofatso had already made peace with the fact that Ntutu was highly probably not even going to be part of my baby's life. So I must really now pull my socks up and then But as the saying goes, Pelu just right. When the day came after, because he would spend time, I'm ignora as I think, even if she needed anything it's regarding the pregnancy, he wouldn't really be forthcoming, and unless if I had something in a lady hidden agendas come that's why I'm flexing and and then so as that went on, already sets a family ready. No, this is what's gonna happen. And Liena, you know, with pregnancy comes growth.
Yeah.
You know, comes growth. The immaturity, it falls off. Lead priorities. So I wanna,
Change.
yeah, they change because now there's somebody that will need you on a full-time basis and need you at your best. You know, so mentally, emotionally, and everything, and otherwise, she was so ready, you know, to face this and to kamano, you know. And I think what also made it seem so right and feel so right was that in due course, Lina la kamano actually little le ka mama ga mo ditoro to another cousin, you know.
Okay.
Was it la kamano or la lesego? I think la lesego because little na kamano lesego. So it was her mom that came mo ditorong are Lina la ngwana kile, you know. And so I mean, what better reassurance, exactly. You know, when you know, or at least especially when we're spiritual beings, we know, you know what, if you look the underground gang is approving,
everything is so much.
No man, go find things and how are you know. So now that happens, and so everybody was overjoyed, and there's excitement now. And when that call came through, appointment ya dilo tsa ngwana and all of that, you know, it was you know, it's not like or last week or whatever, you know. And we also concentrating on the whole thing, hey, the quality and everything, and then even the job interview, you know. In you know, the universe did not try to warn us, but so many things around then, they only started making sense after. But this is why this was happening. This is why this was happening. You know, with all the other attempts, but ultimately, you know, I think hence it'll always be called a crime of passion. At the end of the day, it's you know, because how rata automatically you've opened up yourself to a space of vulnerability, and there's a certain weakness that comes with that, you know. So when Tutugo said, I'm sending you an Uber, discuss what are we going to do, this, that, and the other, you know, she gladly jumped to that opportunity.
It's only natural.
It's only natural. You want to see this person. You want to, you know, because it's always that hope.
Yes.
Okay, maybe yes, you know. And ultimately, that would be, you know, the call. When she left, the last words was, "Mama, let's kia by 8." And then she went, go ubeng ya and you know, and she was just casually dressed, tighting and a skipper, sweater, kepsi, you know. And the reason she was asking was she knew when everybody felt because I see motona kekeles a fella go charting to date ke the younger brother kena narata because na kwate ne na kwate di lockdown no go sena gore. So it would be even more reason. I remember 7 o'clock gate. So, but she was asking for no, by 8, you know. So now, Huadula Mole, 8:30, 9, 10, half on let's say, ring a fella. Time goes, ning ning phone off. Ning ning on a hub, you know. The next day, same thing. Why it's so now because you know, okay, fine, come back. Still, it was not there, you know. And with all that happening, so now because we know the back and forth, I'm on chill mode. I remember, I think it must have been on a Sunday. On the Sunday, I think. Now, and then Chaiwa phone, Chai's Tabiso's younger brother. So, Baba Baby, the Baba Holomo, Kibanaba, the aunt or Hudisang Holeka, Le Polosona. You know, so Chai Afone are Tabiso. Nal Mama decided the police station in your Lugula case here, missing person. And at that time, when that call came, I had literally just said, mara mtase, mara wait maybe wait baratani ba yang, maybe Tshego bone gantle mo le gore ba tlo disturb and nna re shebane mo gare ga matlho what you know ke re mara maybe it like an SMS e le or ntweng ene, you know, yeah, you know, yes, ibile ke re maybe tsa lona di a mo tshosa di call e re a founelwe ke nna ke a founa ya ringa phone. I think I called, by the time I called the third time it's in kisa voicemailing le nna ke ra ntase
so ba worried.
yeah, so Thabiso a tsamaye go meet with the mom and the brother go police station go lo bula case, and then we nna taba gore no re tla ntse re update na ka phone, but you know I think the biggest thing, let's just pray. And then Monday morning couple 6ish, yeah, it was about, I think it must have been 6:15. There's a knock at the gate. Cause Nikki knock at the gate. Yeah, so hi kids, Thabiso is right there at the gate. But I think the funny thing about it is that I think it must have been the night prior. I envisioned Thabiso giving me the worst news, and then I'm like, hey, I get you know. And indeed, as I walked out, the same thing that I'd actually envisioned. I think it must have been the day before, if not earlier that morning. And as I'm walking to the gate, Thabiso, I could see he's weak. Gate, you know. I don't want to go high. You know, it's very Kia now. Unlock. Are, she's gone. And now I'm stuck. He's shocked. I couldn't like gate. Thabiso is weak. As soon as I opened the gate, he just fell into my arms and I held him and we both just cried. Thabiso, what do you mean? What do you mean she's gone? Araba molaile. No man, it can't be. Who you know would, you know?
So kana kwena asatlang khai ka yona. Akuna go out like in that time you're busy trying to get a hold of him.
Yes.
Phone
ning off.
At least
the cousin, one of the cousins that she was super close to. Actually, she was the first one to go open a missing persons case. Go Florida, you know. And then before it lo gape ka mo site ya Meadowlands.
Yes.
Aren't to go. She was
yes.
How what would I do to her? No, she left here, she took an Uber, she was angry, you know. He played it cool, he played it down, you know. And that was that. But I think in where do we actually fall to was because ning phone on, ning off. So you don't know is it Tshegofatso now playing games with us? But we also know no, she's highly pregnant. She wouldn't, you know,
it's more than
she wouldn't exactly, you know. So it was that worry for all of us. But then when that was discovered, because what had happened was, just after the missing persons alert was done, Thabiso ubilatsenya mo social media, ubilatsenya mo Facebook, or no, last seen aperiana liana. And then somebody almost immediately responded, Are, please go to Florida police station. I believe there might have been somebody that matches that description that was found. Around the same time, that's when the video surfaced. The video where she's hanging from the tree. You know. And I know there's still a lot of misconception around that whole video. Why would people just do this? But the guy that took the video, he meant no harm. Kayona Tshepo, he's the one that actually helped us to even get Tshepo, because you know when you don't know and you see Wanamoto abulailwe ka setlhogo se se kana kana, and you can see gore, so the only way that they could do this, I mean social media at least gona nong e tsamaisa dilo ka bonako. So he took that video and you know hoping somebody would be able to recognize her, and then you know and all of that. And when they called, when go Meadowlands police station ba phonela Florida. Go Florida, they said re kopa gore the family itle. And then the family was there. So by then, both the paternal side, the aunt from the paternal side and the aunt from the maternal side, but then escort ya mapodisa ba fitlhe in Florida. And no, it's fine. Identify because we've actually gotten a report here, somebody that matches the description. And indeed, it was. You know, so it was. And you can imagine, because you know when you see her the first time, she's still in that state. You see her in that
It's not
state,
a very
and
nice state to see.
it's not a picture anybody can just wipe off.
Yeah.
You know? Yes, yeah, it takes a very, very long time. But you know, so basically that's how that was discovered. She was discovered. And then fast track to, you know, we have the burial, we have, you know, everything, but we have ample support. Now, because this was case it caught so much media coverage.
Yeah.
Then, you know, all the political leaders, they come through. People from various organizations, they come through. And, you know, we're there getting in and out, you know. Now we start getting used to the whole thing. But there's something really irritated. So why the cameras and you know,
you want privacy.
Yeah, it's like this is a private we can't even have a private moment. Like what the hell is happening, you know? But eventually, you know, we kind of start making peace with that. This is you know, this is going to be a media frenzy. But then so pila dilo tse ke mmereko ya Tshego. Media ke sona media na mmereko ya gagwe ya molatella Tshego ne le mponeng, and she always wanted I'm gonna be known, like, but you know o na itse gore o tlo itsege, and she's going to walk the biggest stages ka mmereko wa matsogo a gagwe, you know. But unfortunately you know. And so we had to keep on reminding ourselves, so this is her just saying, look at me now, you know. So, you know, I was just saying, you know, with how everything was happening, leading to the burial and everything, you know. So, a lady by the name of Lebo then starts saying Ulebogang Then, you know, she starts organizing, you know, but she's so passionate. This whole thing. I mean, GBP, this cannot just go, you know. And then ultimately, you know, a movement is birthed from there. Or you know what, through Sisters Keeper. Then Lebo just ropes us in. Botlhale, she, you know, she handpicks us. Guys, let's make sure we go to the court, we do this, we do that.
Yeah.
We need to become each other's sisters keepers. We need to, you know. And then that happens. And as the journey started, and everything, you know, we realized that this is actually bigger than us, you know. And so Sisters Keepers is there and everything. But then we also want to do something in the name of Tshego.
Yeah.
And the family is now saying, you know, we need to do something in and later on, something something you know. And now already there are certain expertise, you know. Maluma he is saying, you know what, I don't care. Going forward, I'm never gonna take Casey a perpetrator
anymore.
You know, I'm never gonna be in a position where I defend a perpetrator, because going back to Karabo Mukwena's case, he was the one that was defending, you know, Sandile. And obviously Naira Merakwa. But you know, the blessing with all of this is that throughout that whole period where Karabo's family was there throughout the whole time, holding the Pule family's hand, and you know. Now with all that happening, you know, we decide, you know what, this is bigger than all of us.
Yeah.
there's already sisters keepers that's already established. So from what we've learned, especially with the first few journeys, Sakoti and everything, let's do something else, and then at least it'll operate there, and then from the growth here, Tshegofatso Pule, let something else be born, and then so that we can multiply, in this whole thing, so that at least we can tackle things from different angles. So hence the birth here, Tshegofatso Pule Foundation. And the family was very specific. You know what? With this foundation, we do not want anything that is going to be run by family. We want somebody that's going to be for the people. We can be their sounding boards. We can be there, just to check if, for approvals and stuff like that. But we don't want anything in rona ka borona as family re ka ba le potential ya go senya or whatever, or we might maybe limit the amount of visions tse le gore di ka godisa this baby. So that's how Tshegofatso Pule Foundation was formed, and how we found the core and the purpose of what we do is that it was just a matter of taking a step back and looking at the journey e re tsamayileng gore cameras went off and this and that happened, but the amount of support that was always there had never gone down. It was still overwhelming, because batho ba bantsi ha go fetsa go bolokwa or go fetsa go reportiwa story go tlala ka nako nyana e fela go sentse go na le camera, and then as soon as the cameras go off, le batho ba tsamaya, and the family starts feeling alone, and they don't know, everybody's just grasping on straws. So for us it was like, but why do we not do this for other families? If Karabo's family could come and hold our hand through this, what is stopping us from holding other families' hands, to go through this? And now at least there's Tumisang Kadi legal expertise, and then there's us, people that have always been on the ground. I mean, I think with everybody that sits in the board or that's actually part of Tshegofatso Pule Foundation, in more ways than one, the community builder of our of our time, because we'd always find us doing something with the community, for the community, so it was something that was easy to just gel into, and I suppose that's also for me how the activist and the advocate in me for GBV was birthed, because as much as we would say, no, not in my name or whatever, but we're not living and talking and walking the true essence of it.
When you're actually doing
actively involved, So Tshegofatso Pule Foundation, ultimately what it does is that we make sure that we help people open the cases, or sometimes they don't even understand. Moto atlapilwe, and then abare no, but bazong chigisa bazong tlapile nje. But you need one is to understand. No, you were violated. You were assaulted. This and that happened. We make sure that we step in and say, you will open this case. This is what's going to happen. So we are there to hold all these organizations or these stakeholders or departments accountable, we're going to make sure that the victims, they get to open the case. Case docket because now we make sure investigating officer, okay, what are you doing? What extents are you going to? What lengths are you going to make sure that this docket is protected? Or even if the original gets stolen, how do you make sure at least there's something? Yes. So now we made sure we hold them accountable. Investigating officer, no, copy in case anything could happen. Yes. So such things, making sure that we make sure they are held accountable and they actually do merakabon. Or how rich they are. There are cases say because people are intimidated, and simply because or or families say you'd be surprised. There were 2022. There are families where that or rapangwana or a boyfriend and then no keep lots of family. Family. There was an advocate that we ran into magistrate court report. That man whatever, but I have a situation Eastern Cape. I don't know Are you guys able to go there and assist? Ngwana ko jarateng, ngwana o na le primary school child, o ntse a ripiwa ke abuti ntate wa ka mo next door. And when ngwana o bile pregnant, I'm not sure at that particular time never said or what, but it got to a point where he was like, because ke ko magaeng, it's not like here where we can just open a case. Ko magaeng ba sentse never believe mo tseleng ya khotla. Mo ile gore no the chief and whatever, and they said no, they offered pudi. I think pudi say 2, go tlhatswa lapa, and then gore fela, you know what, let's just, and that's how it was solved, so there's a lot of things we need to bring to light, and we need to empower people with, and we just need to hold matsogo a bona. It helps just being in court and being there holding the victim's hand, saying, I'm here with you, or we are here with you. It goes a long way. We've seen it change attitude to saying, you know what, from being a victim to actually acting and being a survivor, and saying, oh, no, I'm standing, I'm going to do that, simply because they know they are not alone, somebody is there with them. And that is our core purpose, and because we know we are not all skilled, we need to be skilled with, we found that it was very important to partner with various organizations, saying they'd be able to assist. Because if we're going to say we're going to wait for us to go and get training here this and training here that, and there are people that are actually in need, we can't just put them on hold. So at the core purpose here at Tshegofatso Pule Foundation is just to serve as a pillar of strength and make sure that we become the relevant interlink and bond between victims, survivors, and families to the relevant stakeholders until they see the fullness of the cases tabona, and also thuso e ba e tlhokang.
Take us through the court case, the trial itself.
Sure.
I know it was the longest, and I mean
it was
it
testing.
Must have been very draining as well.
It was testing. I think the one thing that I can guarantee you is that, especially at the beginning stages, we entered it with a lot of anger. Yeah. We entered it with a lot of attitude.
Justifiably so.
We entered it with yes. Kore ne go kenwa moele o bona batho ba go bo shoba ke di fail cake between both families. Yeah. And there's a lot that happened behind the camera, behind off-site. Yeah. They would get us to brew, and and people were always trying to warn us, you're kidding Gabi, you guys need to be careful. Tread careful. Tread carefully. Be careful what you say. These people, they can do anything to you. These people have a reputation. And we would boldly say, if it's time, it would be time. But we would have, if unfortunately, we had to go on Seanyova mode. Yeah. We had to, whatever. We would walk out of court. Hey, hey, all
this
the time.
Is from familiar.
Yes. Next time when it's back on again, hey,
after everything ends,
after everything, because at that particular time there's still that belief. I can't tell he's never, remember, from the beginning to end, he's never pleaded guilty. So and it's you have to face the insults still. You have to face the constant changes inside the legal teams. You have to face the constant reoccurring postponements. It feels like justice is being delayed, and we are standing there. Justice delayed is justice denied. Yes, so you can imagine. We had incidences where some family members would be too emotional to a point where they would be collapsing. There would be, there would always be tears walking out of court, and going back to importance of forming partnerships and building bonds, because just the whole thing there's always strength in unity. When our lives were being threatened because re bua thata, or we are being too challenging, or we are too out there about this family, they could do anything to us. Then steps in Soweto Parliament with Soweto Defence Force. Nhlanhla Lux is like, no sisters and brothers of mine are going to be threatened under my watch, you know. So going forward, sister Nalema Kokonyane, because hey, buang, what were you saying? Yeah, you know, and they actively, nobody called Nhlanhla to say, hi Nhlanhla, you know, because he's always a proactive person. We all know he's proactive and he's futuristic and he's a visionary. But he was saying, if Rona Bafana Bamokasi failed to protect our territory, our people, then like every you know. So let us start being the change that we want to see Mokasiaron, you know, and it's going to start here. Charity begins at home.
True.
And now Soweto Defence Force is there every single time Aruklo Court. They are there holding prayer with us before we all go, and then convoy Yadit Koloi, there'd be family car, and then Soweto Defence Force car, and this and that and that and that. Fully guarded, fully armed, you know. So we are there because now you get somebody's car, a lot of things happened. When I say a lot of things happened behind cameras, you know. So the journey, it was very tormenting. It was extremely tormenting. It was trying. There was a lot of emotions brewing, you know, and it did not help that every single time he was there and he was pompous and he was, you know, it was the only thing in the Kaela, you know, you know, and that for us was what broke us the most. Yeah, maybe, you know, Satana kaba but the least that you could do is just to try and give us closure and show remorse. Don't act as if you achieved something great from all of this, you know. And that is the one thing that ultimately, when the case reached its end, its finality, when we all heard Acting Judge Stuart Wilson saying, you will spend the rest of your natural life behind bars. That all those things. When he would walk in, you know, in his designer, he's always been, in fact, his whole circle, the clique, Soweto circle, they call themselves the Soweto circle. His whole clique, fine things, and how are you? They always smartly dressed, and you know, and so and he would walk, and then I won't say I show off mouth, you know, his cuffed ankles. I won't say, do you have enough pictures? And he would literally model,
so,
you know.
Within that, the whole case, was there a point nothing will happen, you know, that judgment is different from what it is now?
To be honest, because of the way that we postponements, then now we start having speculations. What if ba busy ba Casey, you know? And I think that must have been the times where our faith in Lady Law was like, it was taking. It was really not on solid ground. And we felt it's never gonna, you know, it's never gonna happen. But the one thing that also kept us running was because of the investigating officer and you know, the two guys that were there. Yes, guys, men of integrity, men that made you feel when I took, you know, my oath, I meant it. I understood what I was doing. And it, you know, the kind of community servants the kind of servants you wish they could pour into those men were hungry. They actually felt even leading to the arrest, they felt, I mean, just let us do this. We've got what we wanted. But they were patient enough, taking the family through, obviously limited information. And Dumisang would be the one that would be privy to certain information, obviously, so as to not to ruin the case. Because maybe if I'm playing, this and that, So when ultimately, when the arrest was made, there had been so many things, and Libona, they did all they could to solidify and to make sure that they beef up the case, So when Muzi was arrested and he started confessing, and to all these, it kind of confirmed. Even Hane Muzi, okay, fine, but at the back of the mind, a whole lot of people knew, this has something to do with talk, because the first statement that he issued, he sang, everything is detailed, as detailed as possible, this is what happened, this is where I threw the gun, this is where, because ultimately we all thought, and then only to learn post-mortem and everything, she was actually shot. So we had lost our faith a bit, And also when the lawyer didn't say the change, the thing, eventually we're going to be told that the docket is lost, or some pages in the docket have been lost. So therefore, because of things are not circumstantial, then he's going to walk free. That nerdula cringed. For the longest of times we had cringed until then he was found guilty, and but no, you will stay behind bars, and then Casey eventually go high court. But also looking at the relationship that he had with his legal teams, there was always this back and forth, and which ultimately just in I know, no, it's not as solid as we think. They're not as solid as we think they are. So it would kind of just give us a bit of hope as well, also with the kind of people that were handling Casey Arona from the IO's perspective.
Shoba, in not before, like more within the area.
Shoba was a social butterfly of note. So with me, I'd had a few encounters with him because, like I said, we would be at the same grooves together. So ultimately lausa blomilimo to 990 every single time, or you don't have numbers where you always chatting. But when when you go to a certain type of place, especially so ultimately you find that we all know the same circles, the same people. We're gonna find ourselves chilled together, and everything. One would be able to just direction is or drop off, So he's always been known for his arrogance. He's always been known for his great fashion sense. But also beyond the arrogance, he's always been a sweetheart to a lot of people. A lot of people were still in disbelief. But believing now when he's now found guilty, because beyond the arrogance, typical cheese boy behavior. So therefore, he can just, but I would be lying if I said that at any point would any of us have guessed that he would end up being responsible for such an act.